everyone, welcome and thanks for joining us here at Mary Makes the Call. I'm Mary and I'll be here every week during the college football season. Talk about what happened last week, what games you should be watching that are coming up, and everything in between. Before we move on, say hello to my sister, Laurie.
Hey everybody, welcome. Happy to see you. Stay. Back to you, Mary.
All right. Well, you ready to recap last week, Laura?
Let's do it, Mary. I've been ready for a week.
Okay. All right, last week was the Red River rivalry. I have to say that really slow, otherwise it sounds like
Sounds like Scooby-Doo.
right. So the teams were Texas and Oklahoma. We expected this to be a better game, but Texas ended up beating Oklahoma 34-3.
Wow.
Yeah. And now last week I had talked about Oklahoma's quarterback, Michael Hawkins Jr. And they were talking how much poise he has and discipline and how he's up for the challenge. And I'm sure he is, but he is a freshman, which that puts you at, 18, 19 years old in a big game like that. So he's got a lot to learn, and I'm sure he'll get there too. And that just wasn't his day or for the Sooners at all. But anyways, congrats to Texas Longhorns.
Congrats. And congrats to the quarterback. You know, you tried your best. You're just learning, and that was a big game to go in and,
That's a big game.
Start off with.
Yeah, I'd be nervous for sure. The other game was Alabama and South Carolina. Now, did you watch that game?
Sure did.
That was a good game too. Now, Alabama ended up winning. They just squeaked it out at 27-25. Now, what had happened, if you didn't see it, there was, time remaining, and South Carolina scored the touchdown. They went for two. They lost. They didn't get the 2-point conversion, so that puts them at 25-27. Then they kicked the onside kick, and Alabama flubbed it, and South Carolina recovered. So,
Promising at that point.
very promising that they were going to go down and score a touchdown or at least a field goal. But as luck would have it, or bad luck would have it, the quarterback ended up throwing an interception in the end zone, and Alabama skates on by with a win. So,
Wow.
yeah.
They're chinny chin chin.
Okay. All right. So the other big game, LSU beating Ole Miss.
Oh boy.
That was a good one too. Went into overtime, 29-26. Now, this was a nighttime game at Tiger Stadium at LSU, and the head coach of LSU, Brian Kelly, has never lost a nighttime game at Tiger Stadium, and they almost did, but they didn't. So his streak of winning at night at LSU Stadium, Tiger Stadium, continues with that win. The other big game, Tennessee and Florida. We figured Tennessee would have a easy time with Florida, but again, I told you last week, it's a big rivalry, so you never know what could happen. And this went down to the wire, went down to overtime.
And the Gators won.
No, Tennessee ended up winning 23-17, but the Gators put up a good fight. Good fight. It was a good game. The other game was Oregon and Ohio State.
2 O states.
There you go.
Uh-oh.
Oregon ended up winning that game 32-31.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, but there was like a sketchy call towards the end
By the ref?
by the head coach of Oregon. Not really, it's not sketchy, but it was,
Questionable.
yeah, questionable. What had happened was that Ohio State had the ball with like a minute 47 left in the game. Oregon's up by 1. Ohio State's going down the field. Time is running down, and it's like 10 seconds left, and they still have the ball, and it's like third down or something like that. And right before they snap the ball, Oregon sends on another defensive player, so that puts them at 12 people, and you're only allowed 11. So penalties called. Ohio State gets the yardage. They get the extra 5 yards, but 4 seconds tick down off the clock. So,
With, 6?
Yeah, it puts them at 6 seconds. So that was the questionable call. Is that the head coach of Oregon ended up admitting they did it on purpose, and I guess the powers that be are looking into that rule. He didn't do anything wrong, but it was just questionable. So, anyways,
What happened in the last 6 seconds then?
well, the last 6 seconds, the quarterback snaps the ball, and he's looking around for his receivers, and everyone's covered,
I'll catch it.
and he ends up running it down the middle, and he slides to call a timeout. He gets down, but he does it just a hair too late, and time runs out, and Oregon ends up winning the game.
Oh, man.
So,
Well, he tried. What could you do? 6 seconds. Come on.
yeah, well, he needed to be better aware of the clock and get down earlier and call the timeout. But
Things you learn.
things you learn in college. Now, before we move on, if you're enjoying this channel, please hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button, and be sure to subscribe so you're with us all season long. We'll be here. I hope you'll be there too. And as we go into week 8, let's take a look at the remaining undefeated teams. We have Texas, Oregon, Penn State, Miami, Iowa State, BYU, Indiana, Pittsburgh, Army, Navy. Now I want to call out those last 2 teams, Army and Navy, because typically the past few seasons they haven't had very successful seasons. So the fact that both of them are 5-0 this year and going into week 8 as undefeated is something to call out and pay attention to. So good for them.
Good for them, and they also protect our country pretty well, I would say. They're number 1 there.
Yes. When they have to be number 1 there. So, and I want to give a shout out to the Liberty Flames. They are one of the schools that play in one of the lower division schools, but they are undefeated, and this is they're 5-0, and this is their 2nd straight season that they are undefeated. So I just wanted to give a shout out, show them a little love. All right, so let's see what's coming up.
Alrighty.
Got a couple good games, so clear your schedule and sit down and watch. We have Alabama at Tennessee. Now, Alabama's ranked number 7, Tennessee's ranked number 11. This ought to be a really good game. I will be watching this game for sure.
Alabama was number 1
I think Georgia was number 1, but Alabama's generally ranked in like the top 3. So it's big news that they're ranked number 7.
Shootout.
Yep. And Tennessee is doing really well this season. So
Those volunteers.
yes. The other big game is Georgia at Texas. Georgia was ranked number 1 at the start of the season. They are now ranked number 5, and Texas is ranked number 1.
Oh.
That will be a great game too. Both those games are going to be tremendous games.
Wow. Will you get any sleep?
No, I'm going to be watching both of them. And plus these other 2. We have Nebraska at Indiana. Indiana's undefeated. They're ranked number 16, and Nebraska is 5-1. So that should be a good game. I'm hoping Indiana can hold on to their undefeated season and pull out a win here.
How does Nebraska usually do? Because I never hear you mention them, and all of a sudden, there they are.
Yeah, they're like a roller coaster. So they have really good seasons for a while and then not so good seasons. So I think they had a coaching change this year, which I guess was a good thing because they're 5-1.
Wow.
But they're either really high or really low. So I think they're back on their way to having a really successful season.
And their mascot is the what?
Corn Huskers. Nebraska Corn Huskers.
I got it.
Okay. And the other game we're going to be watching is Michigan and Illinois. Michigan's ranked 24. Illinois is ranked 22. So they're evenly matched. Should be a really good game, competitive game, I hope. And we'll see what happens there. But those are really, really 4 good matchups. So I will be watching all those on all my TVs. So that brings us to off the field spotlight. This week we're going to feature the Iowa Hawkeyes football team and the fans in the stadium. If you don't know, there's a children's hospital built right next to the stadium. So whenever Iowa plays home games, the kids that are at the hospital and their parents or guardians can go and sit in this room that overlooks the stadium and watch the game. And at the end of the first quarter, when the clock ticks down to 0-0, the football team and everyone in the stadium, they turn and they wave to the children who are watching the game. And it is becoming as an inspiring wave of hope for the kids that are in there. That stadium holds 70,000 plus.
Wow. How cool is that for those kids to see all those people turn
Around and wave to them, yep, and get acknowledgement. So,
and I understand that the Hawkeyes also go into the hospital and visit the kids and bring them, different kinds of swag and, interact with them. So
that brings us to our trivia question. Last week, I asked you, what is a Sooner, an Oklahoma Sooner? Laurie gave some answers that were incorrect. So here's the correct answer. A Sooner is, here's your history lesson. In 1889, Oklahoma territories, the government opened up the Oklahoma territories for people to claim and settle. And the way they did that is they had a race. So people would line up and they would start the race with the pistol shot. And whoever jumped the pistol shot was known as the Sooner. So Oklahoma Sooners, trying to claim their land.
that's interesting.
So that brings us to this week's question. Laura, you want to take this week's question?
I'd love to, Mary. Who was the first woman to score in a college football game? What team and who was it? And you might be saying, a woman? Yes, a woman. And she did a great job. So, do you know? Tune in next week and we'll give you the answer. Mare?
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week. If you know anyone who's doing some act of kindness off the field or making a positive impact off the field, we would love to hear about it. Please leave their name and their school in the comments below, and we will be happy to give them a shout out and give them some acknowledgement here. Again, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, please hit that like button.
The like button.
And the subscribe button to stay with us all season long. Thanks again for watching Mary Makes the Call. We'll see you next week, and everyone out there, have a great day.
And I'll be back too.